Good evening, and thank you for joining us for the West Irondequoit Central PTSA's 2023 Candidates Night. The Board of Education in West Irondequoit is composed of 7 community residents who are elected by voters for 3-year terms. The Board of Education is the official policymaking body for the school district. The board's responsibilities include establishing an educational philosophy for the district, adopting policies for the operation of the school system, setting goals and objectives that foster educational progress, and developing sound financial plans that balance educational needs and community resources. 2 candidates are up for election on May 16th, and we have 2 candidates running. The PTSA holds an annual candidates night so that voters have an opportunity to learn candidates' backgrounds, views, and qualifications. Thank you very much to our candidates for being willing to volunteer and serve our district, our community, and most importantly, our students. Candidates received information on the format and questions that they could prepare for. We also solicited questions from the community, which have been reviewed by the PTSA and our moderator, and in some cases consolidated and edited for clarity and time. It is now my pleasure to introduce our moderator, Amy Thomas, who is the president of the Monroe County School Boards Association.
Thank you, Kate. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the West Irondequoit Meet the Candidate Night. I am Amy Thomas. I'm the Executive Director of Monroe County School Boards Association. It's my honor to be with you this evening. I want to thank first and foremost the PTSA of West Irondequoit for their work in coordinating this event, and the West Irondequoit technology team for their supporting efforts in streaming tonight's program to the community. Before we ask the candidates to give their opening remarks, I'd like to speak to the work of elected board trustees, and Kate did an excellent job summarizing, but just to reiterate, as said in the title, Board of Education members hold the public trust. While they're locally elected officials, those in our suburban districts are nonpartisan and unpaid. These elected volunteers will need to devote hundreds of hours during their term to learn about their roles and responsibilities. On top of the 12 legislative hours of professional development Board of Education members are required to complete within their first term, members must also become familiar with education law, school finance law, state education department regulations, and the ever-changing impact that federal and state mandates have on our school districts. And they must also make sure that they're available to their community by serving on district committees, attending and participating in many district functions and events. I want to thank each of our candidates this evening for making a commitment to carry out the duties of a Board of Trustee for the next 3 years, serving the students and community of West Irondequoit. With that said, let's learn more about those who plan to serve your community in this role. As Kate mentioned, we have 2 candidates in front of us this evening for 2 open seats. They are John Vay and Victoria Bournival. Candidates, you will be given 3 minutes to provide an opening statement. We'll then move into the prepared and community questions, and you'll finish with no longer than a 2-minute closing statement. I'll use the ballot order to begin the questions, but then I'll flip the questions to make sure that you answer each question on a rotating basis. Again, you'll have 2 minutes to answer each question, and I'm happy to repeat any question that I ask. Please watch the timekeeper for a yellow card, which will indicate 30 seconds are left, and then a red card, or it might tell you 30 seconds are left, and then another card that will say stop. Okay, so let's begin with our opening statements. So John, since you're first on the ballot, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Amy. Good evening. First, I'd like to thank the PTSA for hosting this event and all the other events that help make West Irondequoit community special. I'm so proud to be part of such an amazing community. I've lived in West Irondequoit most of my life. I grew up on Thornton Road. I went to Listwood School, Dake, and graduated from IHS in 1986. My wife, Colleen, has been a teacher at Rogers for 26 years. All three of our children went to Brookview, Rogers, Dake, and graduated from IHS. My son TJ graduated with his MBA from St. John Fisher and is now a tax accountant with RGG Partners here in Rochester. My daughter Maggie will be graduating from Nazareth College this Saturday with a degree in math and special education. I look forward to seeing her flourish in the classroom teaching young students. Our youngest daughter Becca is working on her business degree at FLCC in Canada. During my past years on the school board, I've been a building liaison to many buildings in the district. Throughout my years on the Board of Education, I've had the privilege of working with principals at Dake, IHS, Seneca, Brookview, Iroquois, and Colebrook schools. I'm currently the liaison with Dr. Richards at Rogers School. In my 16 years on the Board of Education, I've been part of many investments into our school community. The district is in year 2 of our strategic plan implementation. We are focusing on curriculum, instruction, implementation systems, and well-being of self and community. These 4 pillars are what guide us in our decision making. I'm running again for the Board of Education to continue to see this important work implemented. I also see the need to help students who have experienced learning loss due to the pandemic, both academically and social-emotionally. I believe I'm qualified to serve as a member of the Board of Education for my 16 years of experience in my role at URMC as a manager in clinical engineering. I value stakeholder feedback from students, staff, and community to help me make informed decisions. I respect the difference of opinion when looking at issues. I ask questions when information is needed to help me make thoughtful and financially responsible decisions on what is best for students and community.
Thanks, John. Victoria.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Victoria Bournival. I want to thank everybody who is here in attendance tonight and to the PTSA for hosting this event, which provides me the opportunity to introduce myself to you. I am a lifelong resident of Irondequoit and purchased our first home in West Irondequoit in 2007. I am married with 3 children. Maxwell's my oldest. He is 13 and he attends Dake Junior High. My middle guy is Jackson. He is 11 and he attends Rogers Middle School. And my youngest is Isabel. She is 8 and currently is at Brookview Elementary. So I decided to run for school board because as an HR associate director, I see what the workforce needs and I am hoping to bring a different perspective on ways to help prepare our students for success with their time here in school, but then also when they enter the workforce. We need our children to be good stewards of the community and of the world. I believe I will serve our district well because of my professional experience. I have experience in advocacy with local and state legislators for funding. I also have I've been involved with creating and providing workforce prep training, and also I do help to arrange support services to ensure home life balance and stability once folks leave and go home. So I think that those are very transferable skills. Additionally, I have training in diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, which is also beneficial when it comes to our beautifully diverse community. Lastly, I am a parent and I'm a community citizen who believes in morals and values. I consider myself to be honest, trustworthy, hardworking, and dependable. So I hope this gives you a little insight on my dedication to serve West Irondequoit community, and I am honored for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thanks, Victoria. So now it's time to turn to our question and answer portion of the evening. A reminder that the answers are to be no more than 2 minutes. When there are 30 seconds remaining in the candidate's allotted time, you'll be notified by your card, and then a stop immediately card will be shown to you when your time is up. So let's begin with question number 1, and we'll go in ballot order. So John, you're going to start us out. For the first question, what do you see as the major challenges facing public education in general? How do these challenges relate to West Irondequoit?
Two challenges that I see for the board here is with the expiration of the pandemic funding over the next year, the district will need to make some decisions regarding student supports put in place to help with learning loss and social emotional needs. Our students are still showing the effects of learning loss and need this support. We also need to be financially mindful of how we fund them. Another challenge is we need to invest in our infrastructure to ensure that our students and staff have 21st century learning spaces. We need to make sure our buildings are safe, welcoming, and technologically up to date. And I guess a third challenge would be, the second challenge I'd say is it's always present is the state funding of education. Over the past few years, we've seen an increase in our financial or foundation aid to our district. We will continue to work with our elected officials to create a more predictable and sustainable formula to help the district in the budgeting process.
Thanks, John. Victoria, same question.
So I'm going to actually second a lot of what Mr. Vey just shared. So in general, I think we are facing multiple challenges, some of which include school security and safety, advocacy for unfunded mandates, and the federal stimulus money coming to an end next year, which is just to name a few. Specifically to West Irondequoit, I think a pressing challenge is to focus on how to close that gap once the federal stimulus money ends. That stimulus money provided new programming, extra services to staff to help combat some of the educational gaps that the students endured during the pandemic. We will now need to find creative ways to sustain that extra staff and services once that money has depleted. Lastly, I also want to ensure that our staff and students are safe. So I'm looking forward to the upcoming capital project, along with looking forward to working with the board on discovering other possibilities.
Thanks, Victoria. I'm going to turn it back to you again, Victoria. So you're going to lead us out with question number 2. As a member of the Board of Education, what will be your top 2 priorities?
So,
Okay, here we go. Okay, so as a new board member, I first look forward to collaborating and learning what the district's current priorities are. In the meantime, my focus areas are to be a strong advocate for a fair, well-balanced budget that provides a rigorous education to all the children of our community while still being able to be fiscally responsible. Secondly, I will also work to expand current and new offerings for our students, which will help to prepare them beyond their school years in West Irondequoit. I was proud to see the award for financial literacy and want to continue that path of success. I will research and collaborate to offer additional learning opportunities around life skills, maybe such as professional readiness and other various preparations to equip them with the skills they need as they are our future workforce.
Thanks, Victoria. John, same question.
I will continue to provide support to our teachers and staff to educate our students at all levels. I have seen firsthand how important it is for students to be college and career ready. Not only do students need to be supported academically, but socially and emotionally. These are important supports that we as a board need to continue. We need to support our staff with meaningful professional development in these areas. When our staff can meet students at their level and build a trusting relationship, our students will take risks, ask questions, and push to learn more. It will be also important to build responsible budgets. With the support of our community, we have worked hard to find the balance with the needs of our students and the support of our taxpayers. The board welcomes people to board meetings and makes meetings available online. We want people to come to meetings or ask questions of something they viewed online. We want to work in partnership with our community members to be transparent in decision making. I stand by all the decisions I've been part of and believe it was for the betterment of the students in the West Irondequoit community.
Thanks, John. Don't let go of that microphone. You're next. What is the best way to address differences of opinion on the school board?
This is an important question because it's 7 people that come together. So I believe it's important to listen carefully and speak thoughtfully. I value the idea of fellow board members. I welcome a different perspective when we are discussing issues or trying to solve problems. Our strength comes from our collective knowledge we bring to the table. As a manager of 45 people at URMC, I know how important it is to listen carefully. I want to hear what people think, how they feel about an issue, and what they think the best path forward is. I may not always agree with someone, but I always respect their opinions and value their commitment to the shared responsibility that we have. We work together for our community. I'm so grateful for their time and effort, and I've learned from every one of them at every meeting I attend. We have education and business experts on the current board, and I know our students have benefited from their knowledge and expertise. We need creative, independent thinkers to help us manage through this current situation and keep alive the vision of a vibrant learning community in West Irondequoit. Will we have disagreements? Yes, we will. Will we discuss and come to an agreement on moving forward? Yes, we will. I'm proud of my participation with this board, and I believe healthy discussion will bring about solid solutions for students, staff, and community that we can all support.
And Victoria, same question.
So when I saw this question,
Can you hear me? Okay. So when I saw this question, I immediately related it back and knew that I would be able to apply my life skills to the board when addressing differences of opinion. Simply, like Mr. Bay said, just being a great listener. It's crucial to be respectful and to compromise when working together as a team. I'm certified in emotional intelligence along with effective listening, so I believe I bring the skill set forward to be objective and open-minded when it comes to differences in opinion. Again, it's just about working together as a team alongside with the superintendent to deliver and provide the best solution possible.
Thank you, Victoria. And you have the next question first. Do you support the district's proposed school budget and proposed capital project? Explain why. If you do not, what changes would you make?
So I absolutely support the proposed school budget. I believe it is well balanced. It provides the necessary programs and services that all of our students need. It was great this year to see that the district considered our tax-paying community members and put forth a budget that was under the mandated 2% cap. This helps our community members in our district during the highest inflation rate we have seen in a long time. So I do support the budget 100% and encourage our community members to vote in favor of it as well.
Thank you, Victoria. John?
I too support the current proposed budget. At $88.6 million, this budget falls within the allowable tax cap. It reflects a commitment to students' needs and community members. This budget will help us continue to maintain our infrastructure and learning spaces for students while tackling important safety issues. While we continue to face challenges, the Board of Education and Superintendent Johnson will evaluate options to help balance the need of students and staff in our community. I also support the capital project RISE, which will help safeguard our schools and continue to invest in our students.
Thanks, John. So John, what are your views on diversity, equity, and inclusion in public schools?
So diversity, equity, and inclusion is an important life skill that we need to teach all of our students to make sure that opportunities for all students, and in West Irondequoit, all means all, are met, and we are allowing them to really navigate the real world, right? So how do they interact with people? How do we make sure that programs and supports are fair for all that are involved?
And Victoria, same question.
So I completely agree. As I had mentioned in one of my previous answers, DE&I work is very important to me. It's something that I do not only in my profession, but it's something that I also very much involve my children in. So relating it to DE&I in schools, I think that it is vital for success. I think that, like Mr. Bay said, we need our children to enter this world and be aware with such an open mind. We need fairness. That's where that equity comes from, that inclusion, making sure that everybody feels welcomed and that we're learning about one another. That's the beautiful part of our community, is that we are all so different and we need to learn and support one another. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. Okay, Victoria, the next question is, what, if any, involvement have you had with the West Irondequoit PTSA, and how would you describe the PTSA and its work in our community?
So in terms of involvement, I can't say that I have had any real direct involvement. I have done some background support, just helping out in classrooms, and whenever there's something needed, that's the support that I've offered. I think that the work that they do is crucial, not only for the support of the students, but our teachers really need that extra layer of support as well. So to be able to advocate and try and get parents' involvement, I think is a must. It has to be continuous effort.
Thank you. John, same question?
So PTSA, back when my children were younger and in school, I did help volunteer for PTSA events. And I view the PTSA as really at not only at the district level, but at each school level, that they're the ones that are cultivating that culture of family of all of our students. And it's really, they're the wheels that make the bus run, I'll say, for the fact is the events that they put on for our students. And if you ask our students, some of them will tell you they're some of the most memorable events they've had, whether it's, the carnivals at the lower grade levels, or the dance at Rogers that they help put on. It's all those things, all the way up to the high school with the different celebrations for our junior and senior classes. So the work they do goes, it's not thanked enough. So I'm going to thank you all again for that. And I would encourage all community members, if you want to become more involved in your kids' education, to offer to volunteer to the PTSA, and that could be as much as just one little event, but I encourage everybody to do that.
Thanks, John. So the next question, you'll start us out, John. What tenets will you base your school board decisions on as a school board trustee?
I would look at this as drawing from my experience on the board, and really asking for information when we do this. When new ideas or programs are initiated through Dr. Johnson, the nice thing is it's laid out very nice for the board. We have time to discuss that. We have time to think about that, ask more questions, and then we come together as a board and we discuss. But I always put students and staff first, and community. So I look at it as a three-legged stool, and you need all three of those legs. So that's really what I look at when I make decisions. What's the best for all? Because you need to balance that stool. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Victoria, same question?
So being that this is my first year of joining the board, I know that there's going to be a huge learning curve with this. So I plan, I even made a joke last week that I'm going to ask so many questions that I'm probably going to drive everybody nuts. But that is honestly what I base a lot of my decision making on. I need information to make a sound, wise decision. Like I had also said in a previous question that was asked, that I am going to lean on my other members to teach me. I'm going to have to read up on all of the district's policies, and really just follow the advice of working together with the other team members or other board members and superintendent to provide the best solution possible. But I think in order to make a sound decision, you really do need all of the information that you can possibly get.
Thank you, Victoria. And you'll take the lead on this question. When elected, will you say the Pledge of Allegiance at school events? Please explain your rationale.
Absolutely. I feel that that is just part of our culture. It's part of what we do. I guess I've honestly never thought of not doing it. I guess it's as simple as that. Yes, I will. It's my belief. Thank you.
Thank you. John, same question?
So yes, I will say the pledge. Why this is it's really a personal choice, and like I said before, I respect the opinions of other people and their beliefs. While we might not see eye to eye, I will stand and say the pledge, but I also respect those who don't. And that's really, it's a personal decision.
Thank you. Next question, John. Some in the community feel that an emphasis on inclusivity and the social emotional needs in West Irondequoit schools undermines our long-standing tradition of academic excellence. Do you see these two goals as conflicting, or do you see them as complementary?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry. It's a two-part question.
Some in the community feel that an emphasis on inclusivity and social emotional needs in West Irondequoit schools undermines our long-standing tradition of academic excellence. Do you see these two goals as conflicting, or do you see them as complementary?
So I'll start out with saying they're complementary, okay? We as a board and as a community, more importantly, have to make sure that all students have a chance to exceed to the level that they can. And we have to have those supports in place. So it's a delicate balance. We still, as I know this board and Dr. Johnson's office, still we have a very high regard for our academic standing for our students, but it's also important that some of that SEL and diversity and inclusion, we're practicing that to make sure that students all have the same opportunities that everybody has. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Victoria?
I also agree with that answer and feel that they are complementary of each other. One of the things I'm very proud of in our district is how we provide those services to all of our children, regardless of where they may be academically. I know, we have many programs that support our excelling academic students, as well as the services set up so our children can get the services they need to be brought up to grade level. I know one thing that sticks out to me with a child at Brookview was RTI and that work, and that is so important to me. And most importantly, I love how it is delivered in such a way that doesn't make our children feel any different or shunned. It's a very equitable and inclusive way to bring on this education, and it's something that I'm very proud of. And again, to wrap this up, feel that it's very complementary of each other. Thank you.
Victoria, with the uptick in gun violence and social unrest nationwide, what do you view as areas of improvement with respect to school disciplinary measures and school safety and security?
So again, my perspective is not from being on the board, as this is my first, my first time running. So my answer is strictly on behalf of being a parent. And I am very pleased with the structures that are in place. Taking the most recent event from a few weeks ago, I, again, was very proud and thankful for how swiftly things were conducted, how informed we were. Again, I would need to really be a little bit more intimate with the policies and the structures that are formally in place, which I will once I am formally onto the board. But again, from a parent's perspective, with 3 children in 3 different schools, I couldn't ask for more. I feel very, very comfortable with our structures that are put in place and our policies.
John, same question.
Can you repeat the question, Ms. Thomas?
With the uptick in gun violence and social unrest nationwide, what do you view as areas of improvement with respect to school disciplinary measures and school safety and security?
This question is an excellent question for really not only the Board of Education, but our community and our nation to have together. This is an area that all of us need to come together and have an understanding of we need to have safe schools for our students and our staff. We have a code of conduct, which we have to hold students accountable to. There is provisions in that for our staff to help coach our students through life situations. And really, school safety is one of the top priorities, at least as me as a board member. Recently, the board undertook, through Dr. Johnson's leadership, we did a security and safety audit. We've been presented with some facts from that you'll see some of those in our capital project RISE, where we are continuing to make safety improvements to our schools. And the important thing is that we keep I'm not saying testing them, but making sure that those procedures and policies are in place for when and if we ever have an event like that. And I think a perfect example was that the recent event we recently had, like Vicki said, parents were informed, things ran well. I can tell you that they did a tabletop right after it. We're continuing to learn from it. It's part of that continual growth model where we're gonna continue to look at what we do and how we do it and make sure we follow best practices. Thank you.
Okay, John, you'll start us out on this question. When you were elected, what new direction, if any, would you like to see the school board take?
If I have the opportunity to be reelected to the board, not so much a new directive, but to continue on with some of the programs and supports that we put in place for our students and staff. I will continue to advocate for financially responsible budgets and that students receive the supports and need to meet their needs.
Victoria?
I agree fully with that answer. Again, I don't think I have the wherewithal to see where I would like things to go in a different way, but rather continue the great work that is being done by our district and by the board. Again, to echo what John said, the support services that we offer, again, that prep work for our children as they, age out of school and enter that workforce, those are the things I would really like to continue to help achieve.
Thank you. Okay, for our last question, we'll begin with you, Victoria. What advice would you share with parents who are interested in becoming more engaged with their child's education and the public school system in general?
I would say to just do it. I honestly didn't think that I had much more capacity. Being a full-time working mom, 3 kids who are very busy with not only school, but with sports and music activities. So we're constantly on the run, but I have recently realized that I need to make the commitment for the success of them. I want to be available to, be very involved with the decisions that are being made in this district to help support our kids and the teachers that are supporting them. Without our teachers, we wouldn't be able to have the great success that we do in our district. And so, it was sort of not a hard decision to make. It was just one that I needed to make sure that my family was on board to support me with. And it's amazing that when you make the commitment, that how the cards just fall in place. So my advice is to really consider very hard making the decision to get involved. It's worth it.
John?
Thank you.
So I would encourage parents to become involved. And we have a lot of parents that are involved in their kids' education, but continue to be involved. And that could be as much as we talked about earlier. Maybe just helping at a PTSA event at your kid's school, being a room parent for a field trip. Those are all the important things. You can see how the school community works. We have opportunities at the district level. This Board of Education has really, in our mission statement that we completed a couple years ago, community input was a big thing. We have had many community member inputs on our strategic plan, on our DEI committees, on our student code of conduct review. I would encourage you, there is a place for everybody to get involved. I would encourage you to either reach out to the board. Any board member, I'm sure, would be more than happy to meet with anybody. I know Dr. Johnson's office would be more than happy to meet with any parent, but the biggest thing is I can say is just make a commitment to, I would say if you can make a commitment, do one event and see where it goes. And you'll be surprised that one event, it will just blossom and you'll experience the joy of seeing your child learn new things, interact with different, with other students, and it grows from there. It snowballs really. So I encourage you just to be involved.
Thanks, John. So as I said, that was our final question of the evening. So we've come to the end of the question-answer session. Each candidate will now be able to make a 2-minute closing statement. The summations will be made in ballot order again. So John, you'll start us off, and then Victoria will follow. Go ahead.
Thank you to the PTSA for sponsoring tonight's annual event. Thank you for our community members for their support of this amazing district that I'm proud to call home. I encourage members to ask questions regarding our 2023-24 budget. Please feel free to reach out to me or any other board member for answers. I encourage everyone to come out and vote on May 16th at the St. Paul Fire Department. Thank you.
Victoria?
So in closing, I would like to again thank the PTSA for hosting Candidates Night this evening. I would also like to thank the district and Superintendent Dr. Aaron Johnson. Lastly, I want to thank my fellow running candidate, John Vay, for his continued service to the board. My aspirations to become a West Irondequoit School Board member myself is because I'm very passionate about supporting education and providing life skills to our children in order for them to be successful in both the classroom and as our future workforce. So thank you.
So that concludes our program for this evening. Thank you to the candidates for being here this evening. I wish you great success in your role as a Board of Trustee. So at this point, I'm going to turn it back over to Kate Copeland, PTSA President, to close us off.
Thanks again to our candidates for your willingness to dedicate your time and talents to our community, to Amy Thomas for moderating for us, to Jeff DeVeronica and the district for helping with this event and for posting the recording so the community can view it. Please do remember to vote on May 16th. The vote will be held at the St. Paul Boulevard Fire Department at 433 Cooper Road. Polls are open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Information about obtaining absentee ballots is available on the school district's website, along with candidate information and their contact information. Residents will be voting on the 2023-2024 school budget, the capital project proposal, and 2 seats on the board. And if you're coming to vote in the evening, stop by the IHS Date campus between 4 and 8 p.m., where we'll have the Bay Vista Taqueria food truck and the Netson's ice cream truck, so you can grab some dinner and a treat and support the senior class. Thank you to everyone for coming out tonight, and have a good evening.